Shakespeare's Mind Behind Macbeth. Chapter-1, Introduction. A million mysteries around Macbeth. The key to inventing a million mysteries around Macbeth that are locked all through the 400 years is the vanishing witches. And surely a 50 more brainstorming issues equal to a million or more. While searching and researching to know the vanishing witches, Lamb found many details that are further amplifying the mystery. I quote, Shakespeare witches have no children and seem to have no parents, no beginning or ending, no human passions or relation. To heighten their mystery, they have no names. Unquote. Charles Lamb. Yes, the mystery is such. Magin even suggested us so mysteriously. I quote, there were no such beings as the Wade sisters. The voice that told him he should be king was that of his own ambition. They are but personified suggestions of his mind. Unquote. Dover Wilson says witches are the incarnation of evil in the universe. All the more effective dramatically that their nature is never defined. Coleridge says they are the shadowy, obscure and fearfully anomalous of physical nature, elemental avengers without sex or kin. Unquote. Margaret Webster says that the witches present us with the most difficult problem in the play. The mystery of mysteries is that the critics of the 400 years solved the million mysteries by 99% and failed at the 99th, which resulted in a sudden fall to zero by the snake bite just before the 1% jump attempt. And so, we could grade our understanding of Macbeth as the healthiest and wealthiest 0. Here, the most serious question is, did the 400 years scholar's genius is trampled by the most beautiful evil in the play Macbeth? No. With the smallest, strangest, grandest imaginary materials, secrets are made buried by God's will. As a simple scholar, I unlocked the million mysteries. As for now, you have to by thumb rule say yes because I said I revealed it. But for all, I noticed one thing, that every mystery or say every issue in Macbeth is the most beautifully, immeasurably, dramatically, poetically excelled every limit of beauty. I tell you, if Shakespeare is famous for double superlatives, all such ones penned in 35 dramas are not equal to one Macbeth. Leave aside Hamlet. Yeah, we hear a John the Baptist here called Campbell cry in the critic's wilderness. I quote, enlightened criticism and universal opinion have so completely set the seal of celebrity on this tragedy that it will stand whilst our language exists as a monument of English genius. Nay, it will outlast the present form of our language and speak to generations in parts of the earth that are yet uninhabited. No drama in any national theatre, taking even the Greece into account, has more wonderfully amalgamated the natural and supernatural, or made the substances of truth more wonderful by their superstitious shadows than has the tragedy of Macbeth. Unquote. But the above true truth, when put to the test, is disappearing. I quote, a curiously imperfect play, containing many improbabilities, especially with regard to the lapse of time and the sequence of event. Unquote. Sidney Lamb. Macbeth has been extravagantly overpraised. It is the weakest of Shakespeare's great tragedies. G.B. Harrison. there is a big cry too. I quote, "The end of Macbeth produces no catharsis." John Cott. So let me first carry the cross of the million mysteries in Macbeth as to show how all thinkers and scholars are blinded at the million evil locks on Macbeth. And all these thinkers and scholars kept their eyes closed to the mysteries, even they did not realize, while awake, that there are essential issues to be interpreted. Their archaeological, mining and digging business all through the 400 years resulted in unearthing the diamonds of valuable problems with no answers. The mystery is that when the problems are polished, they shine more, even without solutions. Perhaps the shining absorbed the solutions, intuitively creeping into every audience and readers, along with the mysteries. And the 400 years polishing business ended in more polishing business. One example out of the contest for now, which is unbelievably, unimaginably, illogical, impossible to print even, is in Macbeth words in Act 3, Scene 1, lines 19 and 20. Macbeth, inviting Banquo to attend the feast, says, "Macbeth, tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I will request your presence." About the using of the word I will request your presence, Harry Rose says, as Macbeth is here speaking of the present and not of the future time, I do not know well why learned editors should continue to print "I will" for "I," unquote. Yes, simply we could stamp this use of future tense for present tense as a mystery. But I say Shakespeare used it correctly. And there are such innumerable mysteries discovered that are lurking in all through the play, all through the 400 years. Let us memorize a few before we solve. In the first, which scene of a few seconds with a lightning speed concludes with the words, "Fair is foul and foul is fair." It is a mystery for these awkward creatures to certify such change, fair to foul. When Macbeth comes onto the stage, his first words are, "So foul and fair a day I have not seen." Could be a further mystery. It looks like cut and paste business by Shakespeare. The witches address Macbeth. "All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis!" "All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! All hail Macbeth! That shalt be king hereafter." And Lady Macbeth addresses Macbeth in the same way. "Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter." Again, cut and paste business by Shakespeare. Well, mystery multiplied and amplified. Of course, again we see another paste on fact. That is, Macbeth painting the pasted facts. In a sense, cut, paint and paste. Macbeth, I quote, "Glamith hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more." What an idea, sleep no more. It is a mystery, and attaching to humans is an unpredictable mystery. Before the witches encounter Macbeth, all is good. The very next moment, the witches vanish. He turns to all foul. The all good in Macbeth is cut, and all foul is pasted into every cell of Mac and painted with the idea of murder then and there itself in a lightning speed. I quote, Macbeth, "Let not light see my black and deep disguise. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be, which the eye fears when it is done to see." Now Macbeth is on his way home, and the king too. And Macbeth writes a letter to his wife. and the letter goes to lady, and the messenger goes, and Macbeth too goes to the lady, all in a lightning speed. The writing letter by Macbeth could be a mystery, and reading by Lady Macbeth and pronouncing, "Oh, never shall sun that morrow see," be a mighty mystery. And the other mystic mystery regarding the letter is that lady in her sleepwalk, her daily activity is to write the letter, not reading the letter. Not one day, every day. So looks like an untouchable mystery. The endless mysteries had a milestone. That is the night of Duncan's murder. A never night painted on the canvas of darkness of the whole earth. The actual mighty murk matter lurking in the night simply dried up the ink in the critic's pen. That mysterious dump of darkness pitched on the 400 years genius of Shakespearean scholars made them blind. The mystery accepted by all is the vanishing witches and Lady Macbeth's behavior before and after the deed, murder. What happens is unbelievable with any least activity of a writer. The devilish Lady Macbeth, after preparing Macbeth to the murder, even after arranging the daggers, suddenly, in a fraction of a second, becomes an ordinary lady and takes wine to withstand the murder activity. The mystery unsolved for 400 years. Here in this book, the mystery is solved. I quote, "There is some difficulty about Lady Macbeth's character, though not in the sense of any doubt of Shakespeare's design. Her behavior before and after the deed contradicts the psychological law of unchangeableness and fixity which Shakespeare usually maintains. It is not psychological and understandable effect, but something magical and demonical that is attributed to conscience." Gustav Rumlin. The other mystery is how to understand both Macbeths. No single way. If we squeeze the genius of all the critics put together, we could form something grand of hell or heaven in and around these two puppets and act like cut and paste this way, paste and cut that way, while the ways spread to every unseen way. I quote, "We never know them, Macbeths, under conditions of normality. It is perhaps for this reason that both characters have been interpreted by critics and depicted by actors in widely different and contradictory ways. Lady Macbeth has been described as a fiend incarnate, or as a wife who dares all for love, a remorseless woman ridden by ambition, and a helpless dupe of the devil." Unquote. Margaret Webster. Regarding the first two murders, why is it Banquo's ghost, not Duncan's? It could be a mystery. However, Duncan's blood haunts all through the play with redoubled force. The unparalleled million literary beauties of Banquo's ghost terrifies Macbeth and mysteriously undo Macbeth. The contrast in the two murders, the first murder, the fear of the loss of the murderer's life, and the second murder, the course of dissolving mighty Mac's life. The mystery is how this Banquo's ghost surpasses the beauties of the whole range of literature. We just wonder whether a silent ghost could generate an equal strength to steal and grab all Oscars. I quote, "The irony of Banquo's ghost surpasses the terrible irony of Aeschylus." Unquote. Perkins. For a keen observer, Macbeth cannot fulfill the fundamental characteristics of a character, even though it smells as if he dissolves into every element of the play all through and creates innate dimensions in digital shaded shapes. mysteriously appearing and disappearing, generates and degenerates into evil wedded shapes and forms. Macbeth mysteriously cannot be a character at all. I quote, "In its psychology, Macbeth is perhaps the deepest of Shakespeare's tragedies. But Macbeth himself is not a character, at least not in the sense of what we meant by a character in the 19th century." Unquote. John Cott. The relation of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth is a mystery of mysteries. The play is powered and engineered by the third protagonist. In fact, Macbeth looks like a multi-dimensional character, basically hypnotized in the first 3 or 4 acts. After that, lady takes over the same and deeply, dreadfully, helpfully, same shame. The relation of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth is a mystery, like who pulled and who is pulled. Along with the third protagonist, parts of characters are cut and pasted to the other and vice versa, according to the need. Every part is an imperfect piece and Shakespeare gambled. Of course, made it world's best drama. Every reader, every audience, every critic, without solving the million mysteries of Macbeth, concluded it the greatest drama. The truth of Macbeth is felt. E. Gordon Craig says regarding their relation, I quote, "I seem to see him in the first 4 acts of the play as a man who is hypnotized, seldom moving, but when he does so, moving as a sleepwalker. Later in this play, the places are changed, and Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking is like the grim, ironical echo of Macbeth's whole life, a sharp, shrill echo, quickly growing fainter and gone." Act 4, Scene 2 with Lady Macbeth looks like a meaningless mystery. The scene had really enjoyed the victory over every critic of the 400 years. The scene had concealed her face to all those who pursued her so diligently and intelligently. Many had concluded and confirmed her to be worthless. I quote, "The purpose of the scene seems simply to illustrate, by presenting absolutely before our eyes a massacre of innocents, the devilish wickedness of Macbeth. If it were necessary to do this, we would expect the genius of Shakespeare in this play, where the genius is so powerfully illustrated that the scene should be made to serve at the same time some purpose of contrast or characterization, and the lack of any such secondary purpose lends it weight to higher suspicion against genuineness of authorship. Its repulsive character has no excuse of necessity. Hence, aesthetically, it has no right to be. The tragedy is more perfect and symmetrical without it. It points no lesson, develops no character, explains no necessary action, but retards the moment and shocks us with the accumulation of murders of which we already have had a surfeit." Unquote. Leighton. Shall we grade the scene as a dump of waste and not a mystery? No. Some critics were hopefully expecting something, as they were leaning on to the genius of Shakespeare, and some had penetrated their minds and eyes through the dark veils of the incredible scene, and perhaps chasing the darkness in their illusions, concluded her to be the most beautiful one among all others. It masked the whole spirit and moral of the play. To take anything from the depth and liveliness of interest which the dramatist has attached to the characters and fortunes of Macduff and his lady. They are the chief representatives of the peace in the interest of loyalty and domestic affection, as opposed to those of the foulest treachery and the most selfish and remorseless ambition. Unquote. Fletcher. So we can upgrade this scene to a mystery. Mystery of peace versus massacre. One critic comments on Macduff that he was made with the fine clay. Impressed me. And now here, his son is made with the finest spirit of human beings. And now we can further upgrade and call this mystery of finest clay and finest spirit. Next, we come across some irritating dump of persecutions. I quote from the text. Each new mourn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds. Bleed, bleed, poor country, great tyranny, lay thou thy bases sure, for goodness dare not check thee, wear you thy wrongs. Our country sinks beneath the yoke, it weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. Malcolm, what is the newest grief? Ross, that of an hour ago doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teem a new one. Ross, alas, pure country, almost afraid to know itself, it cannot be called our mother but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seemed to smile, where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air are made not marked, where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead man's knell is there scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or are they sicken. Unquote. If you think that the mystery veil might engulf you like the prophet Jonah, just spell the word Shakespeare. We keep our trust in Shakespeare. Here is the majestic mystery, like a pick on Keats' urn, wherein the pick, bold lover, never, never cast thou kiss, though winning near the goal at, do not grieve. She cannot fade, forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. That is the sleepwalking scene. It looks like an impossible super climax upon the climax. It looks like a prayer for repentance, almost reaching the hand of Jesus, but only like the Keats lover on the urn pick. A mighty mystery. If Lady Macbeth in her sleepwalk don't get forgiveness and paradise, Aristotle should change the rules of climax. Well, but in fact we need not appeal to the Chief Justice Aristotle. As in the sleepwalking scene, the lady is nameless. So to whom we grant forgiveness is not known. So to whom shall Jesus grant forgiveness is not known. Critics observed that the lady was nameless throughout the night. The essence of the scene is the grandest of the pure repentance, but can't be attributed to the nameless. I quote, I suspect that the matter of the scene is too sublime, too austerely grand, to admit of anything so artificial as the measured language of verse, and that the poet, as from an instinct of genius, felt that any attempt to heighten the effect by any art of delivery would impair it. Unquote. Hudson. A nameless Lady Macbeth in her sleepwalk. What a mysterious truth to paint a Mona Lisa of literature. Here are 6 things she does in her sleepwalk, and all the 6 things were not known to Lady Macbeth, nor she saw. This is a mystery that makes us doubt what we see and what we hear from a character lady who was not any lady. The first act is writing the letter. This is the act of Macbeth. The second one is washing hands. This is the act of Macbeth. The third one is the sight. Yet who would have thought the old man to have so much blood in him? The fourth one is Lady Macduff's murder. This is the act of Macbeth. The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? Fifth one is Banquo's murder. This is the act of Macbeth. I tell you again, Banquo is buried. He cannot come out of his grave. Sixth one is knocking. To bed, to bed. There is knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. What is done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed. This feeling equals the feeling of both Macbeths after the deed. Who is the Lady Macbeth in the sleepwalking scene, and what words and acts are uttered and done shall be ruled out as nothing mystery, because every reader is fed full with what is seen in the scene. Enough is more than enough. The prophecies in this play looks like a mystic mystery misleading the reader. Laugh to scorn the powers of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. Even it is Caesarean, even it is untimely rape, it is a woman born, and it is a man. Here Shakespeare should be cautioned for this illogical, illuminating lie, as everything looks like a concealed mystery, and we are looking and hoping for an interpretation. Let Shakespeare's lie might turn to divine beauty. One critic comments on Macduff that he was made with the fine clay. We may say that the critic, while pondering over a million thoughts, might have encountered this fine clay. This could lead us in search of fine clay, maybe on earth or in heaven. A shattered mystery that could bind earth and heaven. In the end of the play, we come across a king with full of grace. A most miraculous work in this good king, but strangely visited people, all swollen and ulcerous, pitiful to the eye, the mere despair of surgery, he cures, hanging a golden stamp about their necks. It seems that the million mysteries of Macbeth finally reaching heavens also. But the critics try to pull down the mystery limited to Globe Theatre. But in vain, the mystery spreads into the universe even. I quote, "The reference, which has nothing to do with the progress of the drama, is introduced obviously in compliment to the King James, Clarendon. We have seen a million mysteries for the 400 years Shakespeare world. The mystery of mysteries are buried as being branded as the truth and Mona Lisa of literature. The search and grapple belongs to the most rich and poor critics lurking in the 400 years Mac red blood murk. However, while swimming in the lake of Mac red-blooded, silver-laced murk, they unanimously threw out an unchangeable one command on a lone tablet with the inscription, I quote, "Enlightened criticism and universal opinion have so completely set the seal of celebrity on this tragedy that it will stand whilst our language exists as a monument of English genius. Nay, it will outlast the present form of our language and speak to generations in parts of the earth that are yet uninhabited. No drama in any national theatre, taking even that of Greece into the account, has more wonderfully amalgamated the natural and supernatural, or made the substances of truth more wonderful by their superstitious shadows, than has the tragedy of Macbeth." Unquote. Campbell.